So this is English B, debate on English as a global language, A period. And the other thing I would like to ask is that you close your laptops, okay? I really want you to focus on the speaker, okay? It's polite, they've done work. Let's give them that attention that they deserve, okay? So can you close your laptops? And remember, I'm asking you just to use one note card, okay? So,
Who starts first?
They start.
I'll have your speeches here too, just so I can kind of, review them as you're speaking them. We have assembly too, so if we need a little bit of it in the cafeteria after this, so if we need a little extra time, we can stay behind, which could be useful.
Я откуда знаю, никто что сказал. Здесь все умные, блядь, сказали, делай, я сделал свое. А я не помню вообще просто, блядь, запомнил все, что я. Мне тоже 40%. Ну, заебись, когда ученик теперь 50 говорит, то, что у тебя недолюбил.
Okay, let's start with person one from team A. So person one is
Me.
and this person, you were stating your position, but we've already gone over this stuff, so you should know it.
May I start?
You may. So you've got, there's a clock on the wall if you want to keep time, but I'll tell you if you go too long, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you know the significance of English? English, for millions of people can speak English in the world. And English is one of the most important global language in the world. However, to use English as a lingua franca is a bad idea because English, if every country use the same language, the country will lose their heritage, culture, and mother tongue. And except English, every other language will die, and English become a common language in the world. New generation will lose their mother tongue, heritage, culture, everything. And it will be really bad for them. If you use your language, you lose your identity, we think. Yeah, that's it. That's why we disagree with you.
Okay. Thanks, Ellen. Person two.
English is spoken and used everywhere. So many people tend to think English should be world's official language. However, we think there are some disadvantages to make English being world's official language. First, studying and teaching English is sometimes difficult. For example, Japanese is totally different from English. Vocabulary, grammar, even characters. We can say for other languages, such as Korean and Chinese. So we use a translation from language to language, but it's not always correct because even if the one word in English that could have some meaning in other language. So it is so frustrating not to be able to express ourselves in English. Accordingly, using one language doesn't mean everyone better to understand and communication each other. Also, it might kill our identity. According to Google Dying Language Project, of the 7,000 languages currently spoken, it is expected that 50% will not survive the turn of the century. And when the last fluent speaker of the language dies, it means the unique language be lost forever. So we believe that every language worth saving. So we can try to describe why we think that.
Thank you, Ayumi. Let's go over to team B. So person 1, then followed by person 2. So this team is.
So, we already know English is a language that dominates over other languages. Why? Well, we can say that English is on the third place of speaking languages of the world. Probably that's because if you come to airport, international airport in Europe, everywhere, you can see that there is their language and English. Usually, because people mostly use English as an international language to communicate with other people from other countries. Why we should make English the world's language? Why should we do that? Well, firstly, I mean, it's easier if everyone is going to speak one language, because you communicate with everyone you want. Everybody will understand you, and maybe there will be less wars. But as our opponent said, that it would destroy the culture, it would affect the people's native language and all that stuff. But I say that it won't affect the culture anyway, but it will just affect the education systems in the country. I mean, everybody's gonna just study English more effectively than they study it now. I just think that it will be the best, very good idea to do English for everybody, because I mean, I know one bibliothek story, the Tower of Babel. The story was about the tower that people tried to build through the heaven, and their secret was that everybody spoke only one language. Everybody spoke one language, and they nearly built it, but the God said that he didn't want people to go to heaven that way, and he just made everybody speak differently. So that's the story. And I think if we're gonna if we're gonna use their secret, maybe that will help us build our world even more effectively.
Thanks, Kirill. Okay, let's go to person 2.
As you know, I agree with the statement that English should be a global language. I agree because English is already a dominant language in the world. So if something isn't wrong, why you want to fix it? More than 50 countries have English as a native language, and English is offering in most of the countries. Even pilots, which are traveling all around the world, English is the official language. In the airports, it's the same. Of course, the largest population is Chinese. There's the biggest amount of people, so it makes the Chinese the most popular language. But however, Chinese is a very difficult and hard to learn for people in Europe, America, the people which use different letters. And Chinese is not offered in most of the world. Like in my country, they're not offering Chinese in every single school, so it's really hard to change it. In another note, is expressing ourselves important? I think yes, and English have the largest vocabulary to help express it. they have 500,000 letters to 1 million letters, which are helping express ourselves. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a time for question and answer. So generally we give Team A 1 minute to ask questions to Team B. Team B, you can respond to anybody. So this is a good time to look back at your notes that you've been taking, and remember, allow them to respond. Okay, Gonzalo?
Do you not think so when every person is using all the time English, they are not losing their own language?
For sure, they are losing their own language, but to see the world, it's much more, I don't know, easier to use only one language, because then everybody understand each other, and it's no misunderstanding, because everybody know one language perfectly. I have a question to Ayami. How do you think, because most of the world, they're using the letters, normal letters.
Mhm.
And only one part of the world, like the Asia, is using the letters. So do you think we should change to the Asian world to make it for you easy, or it make it for most of the world easier to what?
We consider it as Asians as well, but still we're using normal letters. Like in Russian and Polish.
Yeah, but do you think it would be better to have Chinese as a global language or English?
I don't think Chinese should be our global language, because I know it's really difficult to learn, but for me, I mean, I'm Japanese and I'm Asian. Like, I wasn't born as maybe English speakers. Even I use Japanese and then I was born as a maybe English speakers, it is easy, but from now I'm studying the English and other global language, it's very difficult. So not as just studying the English, it is kind of easy, but as I express ourselves as native speakers, I don't think it's. Is that answering your question?
Okay, guys, we better move on. After person 3 and 4, we'll have another question and answer session. So as you listen, take notes, write questions that you might like to ask. This is a chance for you to challenge the other team too. So let's move on to persons 3 and 4. We'll start back with team A.
There are 3 persons who attack, right? Person 3, 4, and 5.
No.
Only person 6 is really the attacker, but you can, in the question and answer, you can attack their ideas.
Okay, and 5, what is his job to do?
5 is intellectual or logical appeal, like you're trying to make the argument that this makes sense, it's more
Like
logical.
facts plus examples, right?
Something like that, yeah. Okay, Vladimir.
Translation is not always successful. Preserving ideas of literacy. Construction and meaning cultural diversity may be lost. It will be extremely practically difficult and expensive to teach everyone as a new language, especially when some people won't be able to learn. For example, old people that have knowledge that can be lost. But even if the English is on high level, we will be losing much more emotional value in words, in books. For example, I will give you two words. One is going to be in Russian and another one is going to be in English. First one is hardness. It means toughness for environmental. And second one is the same word, but with a different little bit meaning. Закаленный. It means to gain toughness against elements like cold, heat, and other stuff. The difference of these two words is one, hardness. You're already born with it, so you can't gain it. And закаленный, you have to gain it, train. These are two examples of two words that have the same meaning but different values.
Okay, thanks, Vladimir. Okay, person 4.
There are some people that really strongly argue with this statement. English should not be the official language in the world. For example, Akbari, he is the worker of WordPress company. He strongly argued this statement. English should not use. Can I start again?
Okay.
Sorry. There are some people that really argue English should not be the official language in the world. For example, Akbari, he's really strongly disagree with the statement. She thinks English as a lingua franca mentions more questions than its answers. And he believed that if the world changed right now, the students that they have standard level English will suffer sometimes, and it will be really hard for teachers to teach and the learners to learn, because if you learn younger, it will be better to speak. If the world changes right now, it will be hard for older students. And he thinks English as a lingua franca is all theory, not a practice.
Okay, thanks. Okay, on to person 24 and 13.
Okay, have you ever thought how it will be good if we all can communicate in one language? LAS, it's a great example of English using as a global language. We're all from different countries and we're using one language. It's no doubt that English today is the main language in the world. It's used in the business and diplomacy. I think if we can use English as the global language, we can solve many problems which are causing right now in the world. We can solve a lot of wars. We can solve medical problems, because if all medicine will be in English, it will give more opportunities to people to make the preparedness to kill such a huge disease, like such a huge illness as cancer and all like this. The English is the main language in the politician. A lot of politics communicate today in English, and I think it will be more successful if they will keep this language. There is about 2 billion people which are talking today in English, and this number is rising every day. English is the global language of United Nations, and I think that this language should be the first language in the world, because it will be more easier if we can speak in one language. Yeah, everyone says that English can destroy their own language, but if we can see another way, people can make English as the first or second language, and still there will be half of the population in the country that know this English, that know this language, and they're not gonna destroy their own. So I think it's a good idea to make English as a global language.
Okay. These two asks. Samuel?
So, I'm gonna present some data about English. So the first one is like in the world, like almost 900 million people speaks English. It's a large number. So why not like introduce English like lingua franca? It'd be more easier. And another fact is that the schools are introducing English as a second language or first one. Then English has the largest vocabulary with 500,000 words to 1 million words to help to express ourselves. So it's easier if everybody speaks English like if was the first language, lingua franca.
So again, we'll go back to questions and answers. So Team A, you have 1 minute to pose questions. Okay, Miguel.
I have one question to
Miguel's asking a question, guys. Let's listen.
would you like English as the only language in LAS? Like, would you only like to speak English and not Ukrainian or Russian?
No, I mean, I would like to English as just like the people communicate, but I don't want English as like my first language, just talking English. I was saying the main fact that we're using English, but we also can keep our own language and not forget about our own culture and using our own language. I will just that every person in the world can speak in English. It doesn't mean that they need to destroy their own language and forget about it.
Yeah, but if you put English as the only language is going to kill the other language. You will
Yes.
You're
speak
making
No, it's not like we're gonna lose our language. English is going to be just the main language.
no, but
When you
you're saying that English should be the only language that everyone speaks.
No, but this is not like only the language.
Yeah.
When you're going all around the world, you will have just only one language, so you can communicate with everybody all over the world. So
No,
you
it's
have the
only one
opportunity.
language. Everyone speaks English
No,
in the
but
world.
you're not gonna lose yours. You're gonna come back to your country and speak in your own
No,
language.
it's already the global language. So now it's
So you're
The
The global language
no,
is
you're saying
ready to see television and whatever.
no, everything will be in English, like television, classes. You will have maybe like your Spanish classes or your Polish classes, but everything will be in English. You know?
yeah.
Guys, I want to flip it back to Team B so you guys can ask questions to that.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question to you. And you were talking about the words and like the meanings can be confused. But by putting, for example, two words together in Russian, you can get one that means in English. And I think like you can choose the words from different languages, see which one matches the best, of course. Like you won't get exactly the same meaning, but I guess like the meaning would be almost similar for about like 95%.
What's your question now, boss?
Like the question is like why he thinks like that it's gonna be a problem if the English gonna be as like one language. Why it's gonna be a problem like to express the feelings from other language? I think it's possible.
Okay.
It's more than possible.
Let's let them answer.
The problem is there's not like I like give only one example of Russia and like in English. But if you take like different languages like Spain or Chinese or Japanese, their all expressions are like maybe like different. Or for example like Canadian, some of their like words are very like confusing for other people because they have different meaning.
I think you can still solve this problem. We live in the same world, and I think in all the different languages we have just different names of the things, but they're still all the same.
Okay, guys, we got to move on. Let's we'll have one more question and answer session after 5 and 6. So let's go to 5 and 6.
Okay. First, I want to start saying that the group that believes that English should be a lingua franca are wrong, and English should never be the lingua franca. The reason why I'm saying that is because if English takes over all the languages in the world, that will cause a loss of culture, identity, history, vocabulary, and the nicest thing, the opportunity of being bilingual. A really good example of that is that every language has their own words to describe and to define things. So that's called vocabulary of language. So if English takes over over all the languages in the world, that will cause and that will make people use English and use the vocabulary of English because it's easy for them, and they will completely lose their own language and their own mother tongue. A good question that we should ask ourselves is what makes sense of all this, and what makes sense is that we should keep our mother tongue languages and study them and know their history and know their vocabulary to have more knowledge. But also what we have to ask another time is what makes sense. Also is that we should have one language for that everyone understands, because as we all know, there's many languages in the world. So and every language is different, and if we it makes sense to have one language that everyone understands and everyone learns. But the idea of losing the vocabulary, the culture, the history, and everything and the opportunity of being bilingual is wrong. It's just that should not be happen. Thank you.
Okay, person 6.
So let's just imagine we have a new rule that allows us to speak only in one language. For example, like English. So the main problem: what are we gonna gain and what are we gonna lose? We're gonna gain maybe less misunderstanding or wars. Who knows? But what are we gonna lose is some quotes from some smart people, books, like words. I'm not telling them that not gonna exist anymore, but the value of it will go down. For example, sorry. Shoot.
Your note card?
Huh?
Do you have your note card?
No.
That's where this can help.
Yeah, I know.
So where were you?
I was about telling the.
Each language is beautiful meaning of.
Oh yes, of course. Thank you. In each language is a beautiful. Each language is beautiful in a unique way. Each word have a backstory, and that tells the history of the culture, or the meaning of the word, or why it was created this word. There are several examples for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I think so.
Okay. Thanks, Vladimir. Questions 4, 5, and 6 on Team B. You of us.
So, let me give you some facts. There are more than 1.8 billion people talking in English today, globally, and about 53 states or countries have English as an official language. So, English, as well as that, English is the main language of United Nations, European nations, NAFTA, NATO, and all these huge, really important societies of our world. So the question is, should English be like the international language for everyone? And my team and me personally, we think yes, but as I heard some really strong arguments like loss of translation, loss of the words, loss of the culture. I think like we can solve it like really easily. Like I think the main concern that all of you think, like, and the main problem is gonna be is loss of culture, and I think you can invade it by talking your own language and discussing your own. No one is gonna take your culture. You still can talk about your culture and make all these traditions, but in English as well. But at home, of course, everyone's gonna talk their own language, and in schools, you're gonna have two languages: English as the main one, and the second one you can choose any language that you want. And I think the main plus of the English as a global language is in medicine, because can you imagine how easy it's gonna be if like six or it's already 7 billion people gonna think about medicine in one same language and share their own ideas to develop some really good medicine, maybe even to treat cancer. It's gonna be much easier than like they can do it in like thousands different languages. Maybe they already have it, but they don't know how to express their feelings and thoughts, and that's why maybe that's what stops us in medicine and science and business as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you of us. Question 6.
Staram się takie pохоже, как разные
As you know, 2 billion people are speaking English. The United Nation, all societies, which are all around the world, the government, they speak in English. So English is already the most important language in business and like the important facts. So they have a vocabulary to express themselves in the way which are important, like all of the people can hear them. Can you imagine if you will have English as a global language? We will teach, the schools will teach English from the small child. So every single child will know English. So if you go, like, for sure, right now everybody are traveling. So the parents are traveling and the kids, they are running all around. So they can't, so they can get lost. And how they gonna communicate if, I don't know, I'm Polish and my kid know only Polish and we are going to go somewhere and I don't know, we're going to Turkey and this kid don't know Turkish and nobody speaks different like Polish. So how this kid is going to communicate and say, my parents were like, I'm lost and I don't know where to go. So think about this, what small kids can do, or like how we can communicate without any problems. And for sure, you're all the time saying that we don't have a vocabulary, we're gonna lose our identity. But if English is going to be the native language, we are going to develop more vocabulary, which are going to express the unique expression from our countries. Thank you.
I think normally we'd have a question and answer session right now, but I think I'll push it to the end so we can make sure we can finish up the other parts. So let's go ahead and just continue with person 7, 8, and then we'll do the question and answers at the end.
We don't have person 7 and 8.
You know?
I don't know. Can I just ask what should person 7 take it? Like, what
Summarize your position and evidence. It's person 7.
And 8 is moral.
Take the high moral ground. Why are you right and why are they wrong?
Yeah, what should we say?
Okay, better work fast. Okay, Miguel.
Okay, so as a conclusion, we think that we definitely don't want English as the only language in the world. Why? Because we want to defend the culture, the history, and the heritage of other cultures, and like, why should we put English as the only language if it's going to kill other languages and cultures? Like, I think like English is a very good language to communicate, but it shouldn't be the only one to be speaking in the world. So I think we should respect the other people, like, because if we put English as the only language, it's like many people wouldn't want to learn this language. So we should respect the other people and the culture of other countries. And that's it.
Miguel? Okay, try not to distract the speaker, okay? Try not to distract the speaker. It's not fair. Okay, Gonzalo.
Okay, to conclude this debate, I want to say that we as a group believe that we are right, and we as a human we should keep our native speak languages, and not put one language for everyone, because, as I said before, if we put English, if English takes over all the languages, that will cause a loss of cultural identity, like history and vocabulary, and also as a result of all this, we should help dying languages to not die. Fight for still having our own languages and our own identity, and because we have to realize that every language, like all languages in the world, make us what we are, and give us the beautiful opportunity of being bilingual. So the idea of losing all these possibilities is wrong, and we should not help to have like only one language in world and as a world language. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Okay, today we heard a lot of advantages and disadvantages, and it was a good discussion about English language. So, basically, in my opinion, I want to say it was good arguments as disadvantages and advantages, but still, I think the English should be the world language because it's most of people right now communicate and can understand this language. We don't want to kill other languages. We just want that people know English and can communicate it. I think English can also solve some other problems for our future. If we all can communicate in this language, we can build the starships, and it can provide us new opportunity for our life. We can travel through space and build our house in another planet. Послушай, нужно было. Okay, so also I think it can help us to reach our problems in medicine. And the last one, that this language is the language of our future.
So,
Aliens speak English. No, I'm just teasing.
so in conclusion, I want to say that, in my personal opinion, my group, like, I believe that my group was right, and like, our statement, I think it's our statement that English should be a global language is better than English shouldn't be the global language, because just let's see some really good example now. For example, when you're traveling or you want to talk to some random guy on the street in any country that you go, like, and you doesn't speak the same or similar language to it, you'll try to speak in English to him, right? I think yes. When you're trying to go to the hotels all around the world, I think everyone tries to speak in English. And one of the main requirements on modern works, like worldwide now, in big countries, is to people to speak in English, like to know different language, but they focus especially on English, because if this person will need to
Can I ask you guys just to wait, let us continue? We have time because of the assembly, so no rush.
travel for business meetings or to solve some problems with another companies in another countries, this person should speak English in order to communicate with him and solve the problems. So to conclude, I want to say that English bit by bit is already becoming a global language, and I think in future, in 50 years, in 60 years, it should become a global language. Thank you.
That's it, boss. Thank you guys for your hearts. These questions, these debate questions, we'll do a few more this year too. They're usually not questions that can simply be answered with a few facts and a yes or no answer. They're hard questions. You know, on the one hand, we want to protect culture, heritage, and history. We want people and children especially to be able to read and write and to communicate with older generations in their mother tongue languages, because those languages represent the summation of all human knowledge, right? But on the other hand, having a global language is very convenient for business, for mutual understanding, perhaps for peace even, for making common understandings, for traveling through the universe on a spaceship. Because the aliens speak English.
But we will never, if English, even though that if we put English as a global language, it will never be English, because like as we like, as you know, like every language has their own, like, you know, even in Spain, like in this small country, they have like different accents.
Yeah.
So English will become like, you will talk in English, but every
It'll be
person,
different English.
yeah, different English with different accents, and every person will do it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So yeah, it's interesting. Switzerland has 4 linguistic groups, and the most common language spoken between the 4 linguistic groups is English, actually, even though it's not one of the official languages of Switzerland. But it's an interesting question, and then I think it's an interesting question, especially for students from like Kazakhstan or maybe from Catalonia, or even there was a good article this summer on National Geographic, and it was about languages. There were some languages from Mexico, from Oklahoma, where I'm from Russia, and they were talking about how languages are disappearing at a rate of every 2 weeks, and that knowledge is lost forever, and that there's something concerning about that. So it's maybe it's not something we really think about as a big problem compared to like global warming or something, but it is an issue I think we should think about.
Can we get our exams?
I would prefer to give them to you on Monday. I've already put the grades in, and actually the grades were pretty good. Like several people got A's, and I think there was 1 F, but several people got B's and C's as well. So overall, that was a good result, and we'll go over that on Monday. What I would like you to do though is you've got your journals, so I'm going to send you the video, and I want you to write one page in paragraph form. Use the IB rubric, which I gave you yesterday. It's also on the class website under important documents. Score yourself. How did you do in this debate? What did you do well? What can you improve? Who won the debate? What do you think about the topic?
It's in the website. No?
Before you go, wait. One more thing before you go. Do you have any other questions for each other?
Yeah. Do you think that if we have English language, we'll lose our privacy?
Privacy.
Yeah, like you have privacy when
You still can communicate with those people. who
No,
want
but
to.
you will lose your privacy. You will not be able to talk with one person and not.
You can, but not in English.
But this
You-
is mean
they're not-
when you want to talk about different people.
No,
No,
it's
different
not.
people, but like
Why?
this
Okay,
range.
you still can whisper, you still can use another room to talk.
Yeah.
No, but you can still
Design
use
it.
your own language.
I'll send you an email.
It's not like your
Yeah, but,
language is
yeah,
going to
that's true.
disappear.
Alright guys,
So
don't
our
forget to send
homework
the
is just to write in the journal.
journal of reflection. And you need to make up everything. Sorry I was harsh in the beginning of us, but I know you're very capable of doing a really good job in this class, and I think you're not doing what you're capable of. That's why I'm frustrated, okay? So, let's do better.
Okay.
So it's just we just have to like write a journal. That's it.
Yeah. Watch the video too.
So yeah, for sure.
So, AOB.
Can I ask you something?
Uh-huh.
Can you be not so tough when you're gonna be reading? Because like I have a stage fright.